Hi there, my name's Richard Watts. I'm Chief Exec at People Make It Work and Co-Director of Change Creation. I wanted to talk today about the use of values to help us set direction during these turbulent and uncertain times. We think about our organisational culture and values often as a set of words that are on our website that we've crafted perhaps collaboratively, perhaps in order to set out a funding application or frame our business plan. But I'd like to think about them as the DNA of our organisations, the software that makes the organisation run effectively, and the operating system, I suppose, for our organisations. The values, the espoused values that we describe, the values and principles that we say shape our decisions and define who we are often only looked at those certain moments. And I'd encourage us to look at them right now to help us to decide what's true and right for us. What's our authentic response? How would we respond? To support our people, to support our communities, to support our artists, to respond to the world and answer the question, what does our society need of us today? So our culture in our organisation exists whether it's defined or not. So the first thing to know is to have a look at, is to say, is our defined culture and our defined values true for us? And if it isn't, let's make it true. Let's update it. Let's reflect the true values and culture of our organisation. And given that we've just been through a shock and through some challenging times, hopefully we used our values, unconsciously probably, to help shape that. So what does our reaction and response to the COVID-19 crisis tell us our culture was? It might tell us that we're committed to our team, whether they're employed or not. It might tell us that we're concerned for our patrons, whether they pay us or not. It might tell us that we're committed to fairness, that we're interested in agency, that we're concerned for truth. It might tell us some other things. So let's get that straight. Let's make sure that the way that we think about our culture and our values is true and up to date. Have a conversation with colleagues in order to test their stated culture and values and to reorientate it if it's needed. The next stage then is to say, all right, if these are our values, if this is our culture, then how can that help us to make decisions in the future? And I think a really simple exercise is to stand in each of those metaphorically and ask what it requires of us. I like to think of our values as having a tyranny. They cause us to be our better selves. They call on us, they ask us, they demand that we operate within our intended value set rather than our default one. And so use our values in that way. Ask ourselves if we have a value of being unstoppable, what does that mean for our activity right now? If we have a value of compassion, what does that mean for our activity right now? If we have a value of democracy, what does that mean for our value, for our actions right now? If we have a value of openness and transparency, what does that mean? And let's not look at the easy bits, let's look at the hard bits. What's at the boundary of that? What does it challenge us to do? Not what is it easy for us to do? Values are only helpful in the stretch that they provide, not the complacency that they deliver. So yeah, where is the stretch that our values take us to? rather than the comfort that they bring as reassurance. So culture and values is true. It's true for us in our organisation. If what we're describing isn't currently true, let's check in and make it true. And then let's stand in those values and culture, and let's get them to help guide us to future actions. And let's not have them as a page in our new business plan or our transition model, but let's have them running right the way through it. They define who we are in comparison with others. They generate our DNA. They articulate part of our brand presence, part of what audiences and communities are committed to in us. And they help us to be authentic and find our tone of voice. So look to your values, look to your culture, and let those simple things guide you during these complex times. Thank you very much indeed.